Today we're going to look at a couple of exciting things, namely coaster brakes. So I've got a couple of coaster brake hubs here, and as always, the intent is to figure out how to make this fixed, but let's just go through the basic operation first. So this is the more common type. This is what you'll find in a lot of kids' bikes. You've got kind of your drive side, non-drive side, outer bearings. Here's the other one, and then the kind of inner bearing on the drive side. So what happens when you brake, backpedal, like so, the worm drive here, which is hard to see because of the bearing, but that basically engages, it pushes this bit here, which I believe is called the driver, inside the brake shoes, and they expand and catch on the drum. And then the other way around, when we start pedaling forward, we want the bike to drive. This bit here, this serrated edge, that's engaging with the kind of widening in the hub shell itself. So I'll just show you what the hub looks like. Makes a bit more sense that way. So here's our wheel. We've got our drive side, non-drive side. It's probably easier to see from here actually. So on the drive side there's a little edge. So the inner diameter of the hub shell is narrower on the drive side, and that edge, and it's shaped as well, that's where the drive engages. So basically, when the drive pushes out towards the drive side, it engages with that edge there, and that's what makes the wheel move forward. And then the other way around, it kind of pulls back out towards the left, the non-drive side, disengages, and that allows the wheel to brake by the brake shoes kind of touching on the inside here. So that's the logic. With a couple of things I forgot to show before. So we've got our kind of common coaster hub wheel here, coaster brake. So I'll just take the arm that I've already pre-cut. This is another fun part, let me show you. So the brake arm, obviously normally is like that. I've just cut it because I want to put that in place so that it's effectively a washer, but I don't need the brake arm once the setup is fixed. Anyway, let's pretend that I haven't cut it. So that goes there as per normal. What happens with the wheel? So we've got our coaster set up here. I've just put all the bits and bobs back together. So going forward, now it's coasting. I'm not applying pedal force backwards or forwards. So that's just coasting. So drive, coasting, and then braking. And the braking obviously happens against the brake arm here. So when I pull backwards, pedal backwards effectively, what happens is those brake shoes, as we saw before, they engage inside this shell here and stop the wheel from spinning. So once more, actually let's do it this way. So pedal forward, drive, coast, not doing anything, and then let's get some speed, coast, brake. That's it. That's the behavior. All right, so I'll just dismantle this once more. Actually, let's do it from here. And this is actually a little bit tricky, so it's probably better to do it from the drive side. So getting this end cone off. So that's just the conical nut that we've got against the main outer bearing on the drive side. And here we go. So you can see the shape there. That's the nut. Take that off. Then what's going to happen is we've got our outer bearing here, drive side, and now I'm disengaging the worm drive. That's what that looks like. I forgot to show that before. So I'll pull that out and just show you what the whole setup looks like. And now this is the non-drive side coming out like we already saw before, and I'll just take the inner bearing on the drive side out. So and yeah, just to kind of put it together once more. Now this is another thing just for in terms of putting all this back together. So you can see that we've got the spring system and we've got these two pins, and they need to go into the let me just double check what that was called. So yes, sorry, this is the brake cone, and these pins here need to go into the brake cone. So so this is called, let me just get that out just to for clarity. That's called the clutch cone unit. So clutch setup effectively. So again, the pins at the end of the spring, they go there, and then these shoes sit in the grooves just so. So excuse me. So this is my non-drive side setup. Then I'll put the worm drive, the drive unit itself back in here. And then you've got the outer bearing and the end nut like so. And that's my coaster brake hub back together again. So the brake shoes and just once more. So that's my drive. So now this cone, the clutch unit is all the way to the right, driving the wheel. Whereas like when I backpedal, it'll all follow the worm drive there, like so, and push the brake shoes apart. That will then brake as required. So that's that setup. We've got another type here as well, which is, I believe it's called the English type. This is not a Sturmey Archer, but a Sturmey Archer is a good example of this type as well. This is actually what came on a vintage bike. So the type or the brand of the hub is favorite or favorite, and yeah, this is the brake arm for that setup. So just show you quickly how that works. So we just pop that there, and then when you've got the hub braking, that'll tense against the frame of the bike. Now the way this one works, it's kind of similar, but it feels more complicated to me at least. So again, you've got your non-drive side, you've got your drive side. You can move that back and forth. But the braking mechanism is a little bit different. So as opposed to a shoe like this, what we've got is a drum. And the way this drum works, if I just demonstrate this. So what we want to do is effectively pedal backwards, like so. And if I hold that, you can see that the drum expands. And that's basically what then connects with the inside of the wheel hub shell again and slows the wheel down. So that's the method here. The way this works is that there's like these ramped teeth on the left and on the right, and they come apart when you backpedal. You can see the gap there. I'll just show that so it's clear. So that bit there kind of comes apart. I'll show you in a minute what this looks like internally. And yeah, that's what expands the drum. The bearings are the same, so that's the outer on the non-drive side. There's an outer here under that cover for the drive side, and then this is the middle bearing or the inner on the drive side. So 3 bearings, just the same as with this other setup. So if you pull this apart, I'm just gonna do it from this side, a bit easy. I've taken a circlip out. I'll show you in a second why that is the case. This has got the most complex axle as well that I've ever seen. So let's just pull this apart and we'll go through this one by one. And then this guy, I'm actually gonna put this on top of that one. So that's your ramped teeth there. I'm just trying to get it to stay steady for the moment. And then we've got our end bit there. So that's your setup. Put that out of the way for a second. This is the axle I was saying about just before. So have a look at this guy. So there's like one diameter, a different diameter. You've got your middle part. You've got your kind of bearing race there that comes off, and then this is there's a cutout there as well, which I think one of the other parts. So let's have a look at these leftovers that I've got on the left. So this guy here then obviously goes on just one way, right? And then on the right hand side, so that end is round, this end is rectangular or rounded rectangular, and again I believe that diameter matches that diameter, but the complexity of this axle is just next level. It's really amazing. Going through this stuff from the non-drive side, I do have a cheat sheet here, so I can check the names for these bits, but I might not. But let's see how we go. So number 5, what do we have? So this is called the brake cone assembly, at least with Sturmey Archer. So that's your non-drive side, and like I said before, you've got your brake arm that will attach to the outer side of that, and then obviously to the frame on the left-hand side as well. So that's that. You've got your bearing. Luckily it's caged. I absolutely hate loose bearings. They are lost all the time. This guy, in fact, is probably better discussed with that, but let's have a look at this mechanism first. So this is the, I'll just double check again. So number 13, what do we have? Brake band, that's what it's called. So, and again, there's actually 2 different parts to this. If I pull this apart, you can see all of this stuff is a little bit fiddly because I don't want to lose anything. That's the inner, which is towards it's on the right and it's towards the drive side, and that's the outer, that's the actual band, which is on the left hand side then, relatively speaking. So we'll just pop that back in. So that's that. Then this is where the fun begins. I'm just going to put this back together because it is easier to understand when it's shown in context, if I can do this without losing any of the rollers. I think I may have succeeded. Okay, so here's our drive side. Now, just to be extra clear, so the way this works, obviously you've got your cog, and then you've got a retaining spring here around that. This is interchangeable, so you can go different number of teeth and all that kind of stuff. You pedal forward. What happens here is that the rollers come out. So I don't know, hopefully it's visible in the video, but see how they protrude. So there's 5 rollers in this assembly, and when you start pedaling forward, they effectively expand out of this retainer. Let's just double check the name of that as well. So we've got 23, what do we have? It's the driver. So, and actually 21, this is the, so this shell is the roller retainer. So the rollers move inside the roller retainer, and there's like ramps in the driver, which is the right hand side, you'll see that in a second, that move the roller pins up and down. So this is such an amazing mechanism. I'm very impressed by it. I can't believe that, you know, it's been around for so long. But once again, the way it works, you pedal forward, the ramps engage internally here with the rollers protrude, and they in turn engage with the wheel hub assembly, wheel hub shell, sorry. So I've got our wheel here. This is the vintage bike that it came off of. So drive side, your bearing race, and that's the shell. The difference to the other one that we looked at before is that the shell is, the inner diameter is exactly the same all the way through. So there's no ramp and there's no edge or lip or anything like that. And the way, now if you think about the drive, the rollers basically engage with that inside of the hub shell, and that's how the wheel drives forward. So back to this guy. So let's take the cog off for the moment. So the other way then, so braking, what happens now is you can see the rollers drop in to the ramps. So they're now no longer engaging with the wheel hub shell. So this is free to spin within the wheel hub. And then, like we remember from previous, this guy will start pushing apart, if we had the axle in place, this drum. Just checking the name of that again, because I keep forgetting there's so many parts. You can see here that like the part numbers run from 1 to 36. So it's not exactly a simple unit when you think about it. Okay, let's pull this apart so you can see even better what's happening inside. So I'm just gonna pull, I'm actually going to put that, and this is the hard thing, so you can see these ramps. So this doesn't like to sit flat on a surface. What's better to do, in my experience, is you take the brake drum, brake band, not drum, and you just pop the ramps together like so, and then pull the driver off, and now we've got our rollers visible, and they're loose, like, well, there we go, they're literally loose, aren't they? So I'm just gonna pop that back in if I can into roughly the right spot there. So 5 rollers, and this is the driver. So I'll even take the bearing out. That's the driver, and you can see, like, imagine machining this out of steel. So you've got your kind of pentagonal 5-star ramp setup, but very carefully designed slopes here for the rollers to roll in. And again, the rollers are just cylinders, so this is completely flat that way around, but then it's ramped obviously this way around times 5. So you've got your spots for the 5 rollers. That's where the circlip goes, by the way, and that's obviously the bearing race, and then the spot for the cog. Sorry, the cog goes there, and the retaining spring for the cog goes there. So if we try and pop this back in once more, and I'll just show you the operation because it is very, very cool. Here we go. So that's now the kind of bare assembly. So it's only got the roller retainer and the rollers, and then the driver. And yeah, that's the operation. So if we, hopefully it's actually probably more visible that way. Let's try. So engage, drive forward, disengage, backpedal, engage, and the ramps are moving there. It's probably not very, very clear in the video, but so the ramps are in here and moving the rollers or rolling pins up and down. So that's the mechanism. Super complicated. The challenge itself, so inner bearing back in place, and then if I can get this in without dropping any of that stuff, and hopefully all of this can take the axle, and then on this side we'll pop the, whatever this was called, brake cone back in place, and then just screw it all in. And obviously it's still missing the circlip, which is this guy here, so this is not usable in its current form. So here's our operation again. Drive forward, the rolling the rollers protrude, engage with the hub, off we go, back pedal, the ramps here engage, and they push the brake band apart, which in turn engages with the wheel hub shell, and that's what slows down the wheel. That's a bit of a tour of coaster brake hubs.